The Battle of Savatron was the explosive first act of the Bumblebee 2018 reboot movie, where it featured the Autobots striving to protect the last launch pad that will allow them to escape Cybertron, which by this point in the timeline was fully in control of the Decepticon armies led by both Shockwave and Soundwave. Besides all the amazing G1 references and G1 lookalike characters that we see on screen, this battle sported quite a lot of action in such a short amount of time. Probably the most robot-on-robot action, Autobot and Decepticon warfare we have seen from all movies. It also doesn't hurt that there was zero human interference, because by this point the Autobots haven't made contact with them just yet. It's easy to forget that there's a lot of that in this scene. Quite a few Autobots and Decepticons alike get killed during the crossfire. Some are very noticeable and some are less noticeable. So in this video I thought it would be fun to take a look at the collateral damage that we see in the Cybertron scene and find out just how many Autobots and Decepticons died in this scene. And welcome to Transformers Collateral Damage, the place where we look at the darker side of the Transformers live action movies and take a look at just how many innocent civilians got caught in the crossfire between the Autobots and Decepticons. This time around, however, there are no humans, so all of our deaths will be automatically Cybertronians, so hope you guys enjoy that. This is episode 4, The Siege on Cybertron. Alright, before we begin, let's set up some ground rules. Number 1, on-screen deaths will be counted and a few off-screen implied deaths will also be counted. I'll be counting some of the explosions as Cybertronian kills, just because it is heavily implied that this time around the weaponry the Autobots and Decepticons use is really strong. Plenty of Autobots and Decepticons explode on impact, and at the beginning of the action sequence, we get a landscape shot of Cybertron as we see explosions happening around. These are supposed Autobot and Decepticon deaths, if not huge explosions that take the lives of many of them. Will imply that there's at least one Autobot or Decepticon per explosion that got killed. The rules this time around are really minimal because the scene is for the most part pretty self-explanatory and we don't really have to pay too much attention to all the little humans running around the in-between crossfire, since this time there's none of that. Just Autobots and Decepticons blowing the hell out of each other, as God intended. Anyways, so the scene begins and we have our landscape shot of Cybertron. We don't visibly see any Autobot and Decepticon models, we just see a bunch of blasters coming out from every direction, from some buildings, some small aeroports, the vehicle tracks, and what can I only assume to be Autobot barracks. So I counted each single explosion we get in this first shot, and it was painful. Strapped in for this one, boys. We start off with 4 explosions near this communication tower. Then we have a 4th explosion happening a little bit away from it. We get 2 small explosions by the side of the road, which are probably Seekers who try to blow up the road, but the other ones wanted to shoot them down first. We get 3 more explosions at the bottom. We get another small explosion in what it seems to be a weapons deep. We get 2 more explosions near the tower by at the Seekers that are floating around. This tells us that at least this tower is under Autobot control. There's 2 more explosions in the upper area of the scene, one again near the road and another one in a small tower a little bit farther away from it. We get another small explosion by the side of the road. We got 2 more explosions happening right outside the tower from earlier. We get 3 more explosions a little farther away from the tower from earlier. Again, 2 more explosions by the side of the road once again. The Decepticons really want the Autobots gone from that road. A little explosion right outside the tower. The Autobots are taking heavy damage in there. 2 more explosions near the road. Another explosion right outside the tower. Really, what is so important about this tower? Just blow it up already. You guys have air superiority. You guys have no excuse. 2 more explosions nearby the road. Up north, we got another explosion near the road. Back at it again with the same damn road. We got another explosion in there. Are you having fun with this? Cause I sure not. One of the Seekers drops a bomb and it hits the entrance to that tower I mentioned from earlier. There seems to be a city underneath all of this where all the chaos is, and there are also Autobots and Decepticons fighting down there. Now apparently one of the Seekers took the advice I mentioned and finally decided to send in a huge explosion, which I'm sure it killed tons of Autobots. There's 2 more explosions nearby the tower, one to the south of them, another one to the west, another one to the east. Now the explosions are happening more to the west. Another explosion in the Undercity, another one near the tower once again, and it looks like the Autobots are fleeing for their life, but the Decepticons are not letting them. There's a small group of Autobots running towards the launch pad. Another explosion happens along the bridges that connects the launch pad to everything else. Another explosion happened near the road. Once again, another explosion happened around one of the bridges that connects to the launch pad. By this point, the Autobots are losing. Another explosion happens once again near the tower. Why is that tower so damn important? What, is that like the tomb of Savatron or something? Eventually, it looks like the Decepticons got sick of fighting over the tower, and if you pay close attention to this part, there seems to be this small ventilation thing that seems to heat up and creates another larger explosion, equivalent to the one that we saw from the tower. Looks like the Decepticons actually got from below the ground and just put explosives under the area the Autobots are fighting in to flush them out, which is actually pretty smart for them. Major props for that. That's actually quite a clever solution. The Autobots are running for their lives, and another smaller explosion happens right next to the explosion I just mentioned. 3 small explosions happen around the bigger explosions that just happened. Take a shot for every time I say the word explosion in this video. Another one happening near the bridge to the west. New explosions happening to the southwest of the launch pad. One more happening around the vicinity of the launch pad. Another massive one happening around the bridges. The fighting is getting more and more intense. And of course, the Decepticons are not done abusing that tower, so they shoot at it once more. And one final one happening to the bridge. Can we get some F in the chat for that poor tower? Like, why are the Decepticons so angry at it? What, did Megatron get arrested in there one day or something? And now we finally are done with counting the explosions. This was painful, but someone had to do it. So then we cut to the Autobots and Decepticons who are now engaging in open warfare, and oh my god, after counting so many explosions, it is very nice to see close-ups of these guys fighting and killing one another. Now, surprisingly enough, not a single Autobot or Decepticon dies during this whole beginning exchange. That is, until one of the Decepticons gets a lucky shot on some random orange guy who dies. I'm gonna name him Grapple, just cause I can. Who gets sent flying back right next to this sideswipe looking Autobot. I made a video about it one day, I think. If I hadn't, I guess I could make a future video about it. I made so many videos, it's hard to keep track, okay? Then we got that guy nobody cares about getting shot by one of the Decepticons and miraculously survives. We see 3 Seekers in here. One that's not Thundercracker, one that looks like Skywarp, and Dirge. And yes, he's not Acid Storm. Travis Knight confirmed that that guy is Dirge. It's okay, Travis, they all look the same. All of them get shot by Optimus Prime, who arrives on the battlefield just in time for one of his loyal subordinates to get killed in a huge explosion, which he jumps over to look cool and reference the G1 movie, before killing a Skywarp clone and another Thundercracker clone. Now, we also see the remains of a black Autobot. No, that's not me being racist, that's literally the color of this guy. You can see his remains in here, the wheel, what it appears to be the arm and the leg. So I'm gonna count that as another Autobot killed. Then Optimus Prime asks for B-127, and of course we see Bumblebee. Now I was shocked to see that in this scene where Bumblebee's like rushing to the Autobots, we don't really see any clear deaths. What we do see here is the remains of a Dropkick clone. Yes, Dropkick clones do exist, and I made a video about it. Here you can see his blue arm, what remains of it. Apparently one got killed around this area. There's also a Seeker right here, but he's not doing anything about Bumblebee. He seems to be cool with him. Now, this Dirge and Thundercracker clone get hit by Bumblebee, but they don't die. Who does end up dying is the Spore Skywarp clone, who was used as a surfboard by Bumblebee. And then he was later decapitated and kicked by the ladder. Oh, also Mirage is there. Hi Mirage. Now Bumblebee kicks the head onto another Seeker and that makes him fall. But we don't know if he's dead from that. Like, Travis Knight formers are a bit more durable than the Bay formers. They lose less parts. This guy here got hit, shot a little, and fell. I honestly don't think he's dead, I think he's just unconscious. But then Optimus Prime and Bumblebee spot Soundwave, Starscream, and Shockwave, and oh, Dropkick and Shadow are also there. You know, but nobody cares about them. Oh, and they also have an army of misfit minions. Optimus Prime freaks out at this since they're vastly outnumbered and rightfully commands his Autobots to retreat, but not before having the dark green Autobot be shocked by Shockwave, forcing the remaining to scatter and retreat. Then Shockwave, the apparent leader of the Decepticons, orders Starscream to destroy the launch pad. Why he didn't do that earlier is beyond me, but hey, let's not question it. If you pay close attention, you can actually see a Seeker be shot by the Autobots, one of the ones that's on the ground and, not part of Starscream's current group. So that's another Decepticon dead. So Starscream and the Seekers make their way to the launch pad as what appears to be the Constructicons are saying hi to them over one of the roads. Then we get the whole scene where Bumblebee and Optimus Prime had their small conversation about how Bumblebee must go to Earth, secure the place, make sure that there's no Decepticons in there so they can regroup and reunite, while all of the other Autobots get to their launch pads. Unfortunately, it took a bit too long, and Starscream finally decides to do something about that launch pad, while Optimus Prime stays behind to give Bumblebee and the other Autobots some cover. He actually manages to shoot down one of the Seekers that was trying to shoot down the pod that RC was in. So, Optimus Prime once again proving he is a true supreme gentleman. So the launch pad falls and Optimus Prime Grand Theft Aerials a Seeker, just as Bumblebee and the other Autobots are leaving Cybertron, and the scene ends. Now I'm also gonna count the flashback scene since chronologically the events of that scene happened, right after these ones, so might as well cover them. So after Grand Theft Aerial, Optimus Prime crashes one of the Seekers onto one of the walls, killing them. He then lands on the ground, shoots one Seeker to death. He kicks one Seeker and then shoots another one before that same Seeker gets up once again and Optimus Prime flexes on him by grabbing his head and shooting him. After performing some sick moves, Optimus Prime shoots another Skywarp clone before using his body as a human shield and shooting another Seeker. But of course, Soundwave appears and sends the most fearsome Decepticon of all, Ravage, who actually performs much better than the other Seekers, and that's kinda hilarious if you actually think about it. Optimus Prime is surrounded and then the scene ends. Unfortunately, we don't know how many more Decepticons did Optimus Prime kill. It is implied that Optimus literally just made his way to Earth, like he was in this losing situation and somehow he managed to come out on top. Now that's crazy considering that I counted at least 17 generic Decepticons in this scene. Of course, not counting Shatter, Dropkick, Shockwave, Soundwave. Oh, and Starscream, who, kinda looks the same as everyone else, but, that's not me being racist, that's me stating the facts. Now in this scene, we see plenty of, Seeker clones, a few Shatter and Dropkick clones, and they're all surrounding Optimus Prime. Now, I did say that implied deaths will be counted, and basically that small explosion counting section at the beginning of the video was technically implied deaths. So here I guess you could say that Optimus Prime killed all the generic Decepticons with the exception of the guys who we do know for a fact survived, like Shatter, Dropkick, Shockwave, Soundwave, Starscream and Ravage. So I'll be generous and say that at the very least he killed half of those generic Seekers. So I'll say that he killed 8 of them. Bare minimum, he killed 8 and somehow he managed to get away. You can say that he killed all 16 by himself, but I don't think that Optimus Prime will be able to do that and just, spare the lives of Shockwave, Shatter, and Dropkick. I think that he beat them up, he killed at least half of them, and he somehow managed to find an opening and escape. So yeah, I'll just give half of those 17 generic Decepticon kills to Optimus Prime. It is implied, we're not sure, but it'll be foolish to say that he didn't kill any of those Decepticons right then and there in order to escape. At the very least, he killed one, and since we don't see any other Autobots around, I had to say that he at least, got done with a lot of them and managed to escape. So at least I give Optimus Prime half of those kills, half of the generic Seeker kills, because we do know that quite a few of these characters actually do survive. So yeah, anyways, our final tally is 55 unnamed Transformers. We don't know if they're Autobots or Decepticons, 4 Autobots, and 23 Decepticons. And those 23 Decepticons also include half of the generic Seekers, leaving our total number to 82 kills. Now, that's actually 3rd place in the Collateral Damage series. Our 1st place is still being held off by the Blackout Raid from the first movie, followed up by the Hong Kong battle from Age of Extinction. In 3rd place we have the siege on Savatron from the Bumblebee movie, and in final place we have the Battle of Mission City. Now I'll be honest, I'm genuinely surprised that this got 3rd place. I was expecting this to be last place. Now granted, it probably would have been last place had I not counted all of the explosions from the beginning of the scene and also added up half of those generic Decepticons that probably got killed by Optimus Prime. But hey, it's my video and I decide what counts as a death and what doesn't count as a death. Maybe you don't want to count the explosions from the beginning of the scene, which, are implied to be Autobots and Decepticons basically killing each other. Or maybe you don't want to count half of the Seekers as being victims of Optimus Prime's rage when the scene ends. Or maybe you want to count all of them. I'll leave that up to you in the comments down below. You can decide, but either way, I definitely do believe that more Autobots and Decepticons died here than in the Battle of Mission City, because here we're in the actual planet and we see the Autobots and Decepticons just fighting all over the place. So even if we don't see some of these deaths happen on screen, I definitely do believe that lore-wise, more Transformers died here than in the first movie. So yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry for taking so long with this video. I've been really busy with college, and now that I finally have a break, I decided to go back and work on this series because it's really fun to do and I really do enjoy myself. So I hope you like this as well. The support for the Hong Kong episode was actually really good, and you guys always do seem to appreciate when I upload one of these. So for my next video, I might either do the last night battle or the Shanghai battle from Revenge of the Fallen. I'm pretty sure that in both battles not a lot of people died, but I don't really want to do something that will be too large or eventful like the Dark of the Moon battle, which I know for a fact when I do that, it's gonna be first place. I feel like more people died in Chicago than any other location in the Transformers movies, so that will be very interesting. That's gonna be the finale, the final episode of the series, or maybe I'll do it somewhere later down the line. For now, I kinda wanna do some smaller scale battles, so feel free to suggest them in the comments down below and I might do them for the next episode in this series. Let me know if you guys agree with me counting the explosions and half the generic Seekers, or maybe you disagree with me and you think we shouldn't count the explosions, or maybe we should count all the generic Decepticons as confirmed victims of Optimus Prime's rage, or maybe we shouldn't do it at all. It's all up to you. Here I just pointed out all that is confirmed on screen, all that is, implied on screen. So if you disagree with my tally, you are more than welcome to do so. But this is my video, so I decided to count this as, actual kills. So yeah, deal with it. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. F in the chat for that poor Autobot tower. But anyways guys, shout out to our patrons. TrueBlue712, Stitch Productions, Stephanie Bowler, Christopher Prime, Pelican Hunter Plays, Mario Gordon, our newest patron Allspark Studios, and of course the absolute madman himself, Jordan the Great, who donated $100. Thank you guys for your support. I tip my fedora in gratitude and put on my Supreme Gentleman sunglasses in your honor. Link to our Patreon and their channels is gonna be in the description down below. Make sure to go check out their channels. A lot of these guys actually do some pretty cool content, even Transformers content that you might like. And if you guys wanna shout out your subs, all you gotta do is donate to our Patreon. By donating to our Patreon, you get quite a few rewards. You can collab with me in some of my videos, you get exclusive roles on my Discord server, or even request your own videos. Maybe even appear in some of them if you choose to. And I'm thinking of adding more rewards as time goes on. So yeah, it's a pretty good deal, but keep in mind that it is completely optional and we don't force anyone because freedom is the right of all sentient beings. So yeah, thank you guys for donating, it's much appreciated, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.